Morning there, peeps. I'm back again. We've got quite a bit to talk about today because we're going to bang on about Haaland, have a look at Son and what we should be doing this week. I might let you know who I'd wildcard to if I was on a wildcard, which of course I'm not because I used mine like 4 weeks ago or whatever. I think it was game week 3. And I'm pretty pleased I did, to be honest, because when you see in a minute when we have a look at the transfers and that this week, you'll see that most of the players that I got on my wild card are the same ones that people are buying now, especially the defence and the goalkeepers. And right, anyway, so this is my team. Did a load of garbage, really, apart from Anderson coming off the bench and getting 15 points. Now, a lot of people are calling me lucky, but to be honest, I already knew Reguilon wasn't playing and made a conscious decision to let Anderson play at United because I didn't want to spend 4 points taking out Reguilon. So Reguilon's not dropping in price anytime soon, so I'm quite happy for him to sit on my bench. And I decided to take the pragmatic decision just to play Anderson. I didn't expect any points from him particularly. So a clean sheet and a goal was obviously not what I was expecting, but pretty pleased to see. You know, it happens occasionally, doesn't it? But very surprised, very delighted too, because I picked him on my wild card weeks ago, game week 3, and he's come good. You know, I don't think I've really played him much, to be honest. He's been on the bench most of the time, waiting for the good fixtures. But 15 points on a week where otherwise I would have ended up with 40 is a huge difference. A lot of people getting Estupinian off the bench, getting -1. So I take that, but it's still not good. It's still only average. Week after week of average scores. As for Sterling, well, that was sat down, all excited to watch the game, looking forward to watching Chelsea and Sterling to give me some points. You know, I think if he'd been playing in that first half when Chelsea looked really good, he probably would have got points. Although maybe they were looking really good because he wasn't on the pitch. You know, so you don't know, do you? I mean, I honestly don't think he's going to play next week. I mean, they can't really drop Palmer because he just looks so good. You know, he's got good vision, composure, picks out good passes. He looks a good footballer. Whereas Sterling, you know what, he's just like a headless chicken, isn't he? He causes a bit of chaos and that, but he's not the footballer that Palmer is. And so Sterling's only chance really of getting picked is to replace Mudryk. And Mudryk scored his first ever Chelsea goal and suddenly looks full of confidence. So if I was Poch, I wouldn't take any of those two out for Sterling. So it's up in the air. You know, he might start, he might not. It's a bit like the Chilwell a few weeks ago, isn't it? People have put him in their starting lineup, but they won't really know. They'll just be guessing, you know, just like I'm guessing. Only Poch know whether he's playing or not, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he was on the bench again. But personally, I won't be removing him because I don't want to take a hit, unless his price looks like dropping below 7 million, when I'll be forced to act. Same with Fernandes or Foden. If their price looks like dropping, one of them will have to go. You know, so that's just the way it is, peeps. It's just the way it is. It's like people with Saka. He dropped in price last night, then today he's injured, and now they're having to take him out for a lower price than they would have done. And let's have a quick look at this week coming up. I've already made my transfer, took out Mbeumo and bought Son in. Had to happen because Mbeumo was dropping in price. Son is going up. He's already 9.3, so I'm already paying 0.3 more than people who got him a few weeks ago. And I didn't want to pay any more than that, and I didn't want to lose any money on Mbeumo. And since Henry was injured, he's been playing as a wing back. So he basically had to go. No, he's certainly not the threat that he was. So that's about that, really. I've seen my defence: Anderson, Trippier, Udogie, and Cash. That's a defence that a lot of people are going to be wild carding into this week. And it's already left me with a benching headache. Who do I bench? Do I bench Cash at Wolves? Do I bench Udogie at Luton? Trippier at West Ham? or Anderson at home to Forest. It's a very difficult decision. You know, I can see whichever one of these I bench is probably going to get points. I've also got Archer playing Fulham, which is a good fixture for him. But they're going to have to stay on the bench, I think. It'd almost be worth me, if I had a free transfer, almost be worth me getting rid of Reguilon and playing a bench boost this week because they look pretty good, don't they? Anyway, Pete, so what we're going to do now is what we normally do, is have a look at the transfers out and transfers in for the week and see what's what. And I'm going to tell you who I'd pick if I was on a wild card. So first thing I show you, look, here's my defence that I got on my wild card weeks ago. And you can see I paid 4.5 for Leno, 4 million for Areola, 4.5 for Cash, 4.5 for Anderson, 6.5 for Trippier, 4.5 for Udogie. When you look at their prices now, like Leno's 4.7, Areola's 4.2, Cash is 4.9, crazy. Anderson 4.8 and going up again. Trippier 6.8 and still rising, and Udogie 4.8. So that's like an extra million cost now to get that defence that I got on that wild card, and people are paying it because these other players, you can see here from the transfers in this week, these are the players people are buying, and a lot of it's on wild card. Areola, Leno, Cash, Trippier, Anderson, Burn and Udogie. Now, I don't understand the Burn pick. It's like the Botman pick. I wasn't keen because I'll tell you what, I told you last week, Trippier is going to outscore these other Newcastle defenders by a significant margin. You know, so if you're not getting Trippier, why get a second best player? Why not get somebody else, you know, from another team? Because Trippier, honestly, I think I said he was going to outscore them by 30 points. Well, completely underestimated. He's almost outscored them by 30 points in the last 2 weeks. It's probably going to be more like 50 or 70 points, but he's going to outpoint these other options by the end of the season. You know, he's vastly superior to anything else in that Newcastle defence. So Burn's a bit of a lazy pick. People selling Botman, getting Burning. Lazy, lazy, lazy. Like content creators, the mainstream ones. Funny, isn't it? They're all for telling people not to wildcard before an international break. And now they're all wildcarding before an international break. And the ones that haven't yet wildcarded will now use the Saka injury to also wildcard. And then all the followers are going to wildcard, and suddenly it's going to snowball. Everyone's going to wildcard, and everyone's going to have Cash, Anderson, Trippier and Udogie. Now, so a big thing actually for wildcards, we'll have a quick look at this first. We've got Son coming in, Maddison, Bowen, Neto, Diaby. Now, Neto, the reason he's coming in is because he's 5.6 million and people want Salah. So that'll be why Neto's coming in. Strikers, Watkins and Alvarez. Now, a thing that's happening this week is a lot of people are talking about getting rid of Haaland. You know, obviously a lot of people aren't going to do it. You know, the content creators are going to talk about it, just like I am, but they're not going to do it. You know, but a lot of the community are going to do it because what they realise is that Haaland has got difficult fixtures, and that for the next 8 weeks there are very good alternatives captaincy-wise to Haaland. You know, you can either captain Son, Salah or Saka pretty much every single week for the next 8 weeks and quite happily not captain Haaland. And we'll see in a minute because we'll have a look at my mini league and I'll show you the team I showed you last week, and that will show you just why they're thinking about getting rid of Haaland. But if I was wildcarding this week, Pete, because a lot of you are, if I was wildcarding this week, I wouldn't change my defence, except I'd get rid of Reguilon, obviously. And I don't know who I'd get in for Reguilon. It would be a 4.5 million defender. There's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of lazy people that just copy for template, copy for content creators when it comes to defence. Now, I put it to you, peeps, that defensive differentials are really good. That's a good place to pick a differential, is in defence. You see what Anderson's done for me. Hardly anyone had Anderson when I bought him in. People thought, why has he got Anderson? You know, he was like 5% owned or less. And but now you see why I got him. And people are now latching onto him. But there's a lot of good differentials out there. People like Zuma, Chelsea defenders, lots of players. You saw Colwell got 12 points, didn't he, this week? I know their fixtures are turning bad. But you've got to think, when you pick up defenders now, it's for the long term, because your next wild card's not for many, many weeks. Might not be for another 20 weeks. So you don't really want to be buying all your defenders now on wildcard that have got good fixtures. So buying someone like Colwell is actually a good strategy. Someone you're not going to use for a while, but can sit there for when you need him. Because you never know. Chelsea, I think, can keep a clean sheet against anybody. The defence isn't their problem. And they can keep a clean sheet. You know, very good player, Colwell. And you see myself this week, I've got all the popular ones, and I've got this big benching headache about who to bench. So don't be afraid to pick a good defender that doesn't have good fixtures. It's like when I bought Anderson, he didn't have great fixtures. But I put him in anyway because I didn't need to use him for the first few weeks. And now he's paying dividends. So you want to look at the overall quality of the defender rather than near fixtures. Of course, you want to make sure you can get 3 decent ones out each week. But the main thing is to have good quality players, because you don't want to be using your transfers to change these people. So once you get them, you're kind of stuck with them. So you've got to be careful on your wild card. You saw with a team people started with it this season, they had Baldock and all these players that are now completely dead wood. You know, you see teams with 3 deadwood defenders or 2 deadwood defenders on the defence, on the bench. And then they wonder why they don't get any luck with their defenders coming off their bench. Well, it's because they don't even play, you know, because they bought rubbish. And so don't repeat that with your wild cards. You know, make sure you pick them. Anyway, as far as wild carding peeps, I'd have my same defence. Midfield, the 5 midfielders I'd have now, if I was wild carding: Son, Maddison, Diaby, Diaz of Liverpool, or Bowen, and a 4.5 midfielder. So I'd switch to 3-4-3. And up front, I'd have Haaland, Watkins, and Alvarez. And I'd keep those 3 up front. Maybe not Alvarez, actually. If you don't like Alvarez, then Nunez at Liverpool. So Nunez, Haaland, and Watkins. I'd certainly have Watkins. And not because he scored a hat-trick at the weekend, but because he's the best option. He was the best option before the season started, really. I was tossing up between him and Jackson, wasn't I? And I went Jackson because of the fixtures. Idiot. But, you know, a lot of us did, didn't we? But we always knew that either Watkins or Jesus was going to be the best long-term partner for Haaland. And so if you're on a 3-4-3, I'd definitely get Watkins. Then I'd get either Nunez or Alvarez. And Haaland. Yeah, Haaland, Watkins, and Nunez or Alvarez. So they're the 5 I'd have. That would be my wild card, basically, if I was doing it now. I wouldn't take Haaland out. A lot of people are taking Haaland out. We'll have a quick look at who's getting rid of. I think we know, don't we? Who's going? Be Pickford. Oh no, it's Onana. What a... Honestly, I mean, have you watched that Champions League game today? He's totally... I don't know what's wrong with him. You can't even blame the fact that he's facing more pressing because he's playing in a tougher league, because Galatasaray don't play in the Premier League, do they? And when he was playing for his Italian team last year, he looked good against when he was playing against teams like Galatasaray. But for United, just looks rubbish. Maybe he just lacks that understanding with the defence or whatever. But he looks an awful player, doesn't he? I mean, he got rid of a good goalie and replaced him with a worse one. Shocking. So defence, you've got Estupinian, Chilwell, Botman, Gusto. Probably all on wildcard, most people getting rid of those. Estupinian, a lot of people got 1 point from him. I got rid of him in game week 3, I think it was, or after game week 3. And it was hard to do because he'd got a lot of points. But sometimes you have to be brave, you know, and you look at his fixtures and you saw his fixtures are bad. But people were so reluctant to get rid of him because he just got so many points. But it's become pretty clear that he's a liability in a lot of ways, isn't he? I mean, Brighton defensively are shocking, you know, and the manager cannot keep allowing his Estupinian to play as a winger, basically, when they're getting battered, aren't they? So it can't carry on like that. So I don't really see him as an option. I mean, when they're playing Luton and co, he's an option then, certainly. But at the moment, you know, I mean, the time to get rid of him really was after game week 3, wasn't it? But people have kept him over his bad fixtures. And now they're getting rid of him because they've had enough. You know, he costs them a point. Nothing worse than a bench player coming off your bench and getting -1. And then you see people like me with Anderson and people like Az with Colwell. And it's just annoying, isn't it? You want to get rid of the prick. Oh, get rid of them and this stupid yad. So, Rashford getting smashed. Gw8, well, I've already got rid of him. Saka, now a bit unfortunate. And the manager's really not done him a favour. Well, why did the manager not rest him against Bournemouth? It just makes no sense. He's flogging a dead horse. He's running him into the ground, isn't he? Pep wouldn't have done this to Saka. This is partly Arteta's fault, this. He's really has running down. 36 minutes tonight he's off. Now we don't know if it's connected with his other injuries that he's been picking up, but he felt something and had to go, you know, so he wasn't happy. Thomas still being sold, fixtures, Sterling, Foden, Salah, even through getting rid of Salah, Ward-Prowse. You know, for everyone buying someone, there's always someone else bringing them in. Strikers, we've got Alvarez going. A lot of people getting rid of Alvarez so they can bring in Watkins, I guess. See, look, 84,000 got rid of Darwin. Seems crazy, doesn't it? And 48,000 bought him in. That's bought him in and I got rid of him. If I was wildcarding, I think I'd bring him in. I think Gakpo's injured as well, isn't he, for this week? But I'd certainly get Watkins if I was on a wildcard, that's for sure. I know he got all his points in one game, but he has been ticking over. You know, look at the first 3 weeks, he got an assist in the first 3 weeks, and he got another assist in 5. So he's only blanked once all season. So, you know, and he's got good fixtures coming up. I didn't realise that, actually, but he'd only blanked the once. I mean, obviously 5 points in 4 games. You know, 5 points isn't ideal, but it's not, you know, it's still ticking over, isn't it? Now he's got his hat-trick, we can see a few more goals coming up. You know, they're away at Wolves next week. So, could be points there. They're looking a bit better. And he's home to West Ham. Home to Luton. So, when's that? Game week 10. So we're going to have to buy him, aren't we? It's not, it's just a question of when with Watkins. Just a question of when. Now, it's not an impossibility. I'll show you now, because we're going to go to, we'll have a look at my mini leagues of what I showed you last week. So I thought I was having a really shit week. So 55, but it turns out it's not that bad. There's a lot of 40s in this league. So even someone got 29 points here. He's a good player as well, and he got 29 points. Happens to everybody, doesn't it? You know, you can laugh at these people, although we don't really, but because you know it's going to happen to you sooner or later. We all have weeks like it. But look at Wag again. Look, I showed you his team last week. Team with no Man City players in it. And how well she was doing. And then again this week she's got 86. You know, you've got people like Az getting all excited because his wild card got 50 points or whatever. And here's Wag here, 86. Gone up to 190 in the world, 190,000 in the world. Off the back of this wild card, a game week rank of 124k. And still no Man City players. Watkins, of course. Morris, captain. Bowen, Zuma. See, no one's got Zuma. She's got Zuma in. There's plenty of picks. She didn't even pick the right keeper. And there's still gone away with 86 points. And she's still got Trent on the bench. Because this is what people are saying now. I don't know. Some people saw the team last week and thought, hang on a minute. And she's been on Twitter a bit. And people are seeing what you can do without Haaland in the team. And they're looking at Haaland's fixtures. His next 8 aren't great. And that they've seen that you can captain Salah, Son and Saka for the next 8 weeks quite happily and not need to captain Haaland. And people are looking at the teams they can get without Haaland. They're looking at Watkins and thinking, if I've got Haaland, he's very difficult to get. Because you've got Haaland, you've got Alvarez, and you also want Watkins. Or you want Darwin Núñez. Well, with Haaland, it's kind of restricting. I know he's very good, obviously, isn't he? But see, I mean, this team here she's got is so well balanced. It's got Trippier and Trent in it. Any midfielder she basically wants. I mean, she's got Salah, Son, anybody, basically. It's still got money in the bank. And attacking-wise, you can have Watkins and probably turn Morris into a Liverpool striker this week. And there's basically no holes in the team. Apart from, of course, not having Haaland. But as I said, if you don't need to captain him for the 8 weeks, the next 8 weeks, is he going to be worth having? Obviously, he can score a hat-trick at any time. But the same would apply to Watkins, Darwin, Son, Salah, Bowen, Maddison. Well, I don't know about Rashford. But you know what I'm saying. You know, obviously Haaland can do really well and has done really well. But he's got a lot tougher fixtures now. And a lot of studies have shown that Haaland is much better at home than away. And he's also better when he's not playing top 6. And he's meeting quite a few top 6 teams in the next 8. So, you know, if you're on a wild card and you see a team like this and how many points it's getting, and that was when Haaland was doing well. You know, she's had to suffer a lot of bad variance by not having Haaland. I mean, there was that week Haaland scored a hat-trick. And she actually went on Twitter this week, I think, and she put up her captain picks versus Haaland's captain picks. And they're pretty similar. You know, she's been captaining Son, Salah. I think she captained Saka one week. And her captain picks have been keeping up with Haaland. So if a team like this with no Man City can get to 190k when City have been doing well, imagine what it can do when City are doing badly. Because if you want to win FPL, there's no point doing the same thing as everyone else. You know, if you've got Haaland, you've got the same team as everyone else and the content creators, you're not going to win FPL, are you? Whereas a team like this could win FPL, where it could also get obliterated into oblivion pretty quickly if Haaland came out, bang, 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 3 hat-tricks on the trot. You know, but that's the risk you take, isn't it? You've got to take chances. Whatever you do, you're taking a chance, because all of us with Haaland, if he continues to blank, we're going to be in with no chance either. We're going to be so far behind teams like this that we kiss goodbye to the season. You know, we probably already can, most of us. You know, there's no way I'm winning FPL this season. So, No way any of you are really, or most of you, unless you're already sort of in the top few hundred K and looking good. So you're not going to win it, basically. Even this team, 190K is still a long way off the lead. But it's got potential. Whereas all of us with our Haaland and Alvarez teams, have we really got that same potential? I don't know if we have, because even if Haaland does well, it's not going to do us much good, is it? Because it's still everybody owns him. So that's that league anyway. So what else can we talk about? Could have a quick look at some price changes. Because like I said, the longer people are waiting to wildcard, the more people are going out. Oh, look, it's already changed. Something's changed, peeps. I'll tell you who's disappeared. Anderson. He must have. We'll go and find out the price changes, shall we? We'll go to Scout and have a look. That's what I normally do to find out who's changed in price. Come on, Scout. It's slow. Right. Hot topics. Here it be. Rainy always puts them up. Find out who's just changed in price. Anderson. See, my man Anderson. He's gone up again. So it's just crazy, isn't it? The defenders are just going up and up. It won't be long before cash is 5 million, having started at 4.5. Sun still hasn't gone up, but I didn't want to take the chance. So I got Sun in a bit earlier than I would have done. Because once you get in the 90s, I've had a couple that have gone a bit early and caught me out. So I've got Sun in. That's probably my only transfer. Now we'll have a quick look at the XG because we've got a bigger sample now. This is expected goals against. So this is pretty good at picking up who the best defences are. So we can see Man City, Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, Palace, Liverpool. They're the top 6 in defensive quality, it seems, at the moment. And I'd say that's about right, to be honest. Because Newcastle are pretty good. Trouble with City, of course, is that they rotate their defence so much. And they actually do seem to keep conceding as well, don't they? But this is why I've got Anderson, you see, because Palace, for quite a while, have had a fairly decent defence. But they go under the radar. People aren't really interested in them. So if you are wildcarding, I'd say you want to pick these teams. And there are good 4.5 million options within these teams. You can, like someone like Colwell, you can say, oh, well, Chelsea have got bad fixtures, like I said. But you're buying players now with your wildcard that you're going to want for a long time. So, and he's pretty nailed, I think. Arsenal, you could get Gabriel, which you think he's going to keep playing, because he's only 4.7 million now. And it might leave you enough money for Trippier. Like I said, I don't think you want these second-rate Newcastle options, to be honest. You want Trippier. That's all there is to it. Who else could you get in defence? Actually, Forest have got a few interesting ones. Bolly and Oreo. Tottenham, obviously. Everyone's gone for Udogi, but Pedro Porro is pretty good as well. United, I've got Reguilon for attacking returns. I mean, United are looking awful, but then again, he hasn't been playing, has he, the last 2 games? Got Cash for attacking returns, obviously. Again, was Estupinian, because you're not getting these players for defence, because defensively, these teams aren't the best, so far anyway. Expected goals are interesting, aren't they? This is why people are looking at the likes of Gordon, because Newcastle, despite having had difficult fixtures, are actually could have had more goals than blooming Man City and Brighton and Liverpool. Of course, they haven't, have they? When it comes to goals, it's Brighton. Oh, they're pretty close, though. They have scored more than City. Brighton, Newcastle, Villa, Tottenham, City, Liverpool. Again, I think this is pretty fair reflection. on events. United right down there, but then again, they deserve to be, don't they? Because they've been pretty average, and they've gone from bad to worse. I mean, today, Champions League, you've got to start to think they're going down the gurgler, aren't they, United? I can't see the manager lasting much longer. And to be honest, peeps, I can't see me lasting much longer either, because I've been on here a while. We've looked at who's doing what. All these players going out, usual suspects. Neto coming in. Like I said, I think Neto's coming in because of Salah. Bowen's coming in because he's good. He's done really well for me in fan team. And, he's good. Got a couple of tougher fixtures, but he's already scored in some of his tougher fixtures this season. So anyway, that's about it, I think, for today. I might come back before the end of the week. And basically it. I've got 2.2 million in the bank now, so I'm gradually spending my money. I was talking about getting Trent, wasn't I? But it looks like I can't really get Trent, unless it's for Trippier. I can't get Salah. Liverpool have got good fixtures coming up. I can't get Trent, I can't get Salah, so it's not good. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at Diaz. I'm saying Sterling, you're on your way out soon. Fernandes, Foden, you're all on your way out soon. So it's just a question of which order they depart in. I'd say Sterling will definitely be going next week. And it will be either Diaby or a Liverpool midfielder. I'm thinking Diaz is probably the best one. So like I said, I can't get Salah, but I don't want to have no Liverpool with the fixtures coming up. I'm also going to want Darwin Núñez, I think, which means I've got a difficult choice. I either take out Alvarez, or the other thing I can do, which is a possibility here, and I'm not ruling it out, is to take out Haaland and one of those midfielders and replace Haaland with Watkins and replace one of those midfielders with Salah for game week 10. So I'm certainly not ruling out taking out Haaland. I haven't, you've got to keep an open mind. And I can take him out, and in 8 weeks' time, I can flip them back again. So don't get caught into that blinkered approach where you think Haaland is permanent, because nobody's permanent. You can take them out for a few weeks and replace them. So if I get Salah, like I said last week, it will be for Haaland. Then my team's going to end up looking like that team we saw that Gw8 had. It's going to end up with no City, because I can't see Foden lasting much longer. And Alvarez is probably looking the best of the bunch, isn't it? At least until De Bruyne comes back. I think Alvarez is pretty good. So a front line of Alvarez and Watkins looks good. Actually, I'm thinking, to be honest, that Salah and Watkins is a better bet than trying to keep Haaland and fiddle around with inferior Liverpool assets. So this is good, doing me good, this video. It's actually making me think now that I am going to join the Haaland exodus, but it will probably be on game week 10, not straight away. So because I've made my transfer this week, I'll get rid of Sterling next week for somebody, and then the following week I will be brave and take Haaland out, possibly. We'll see. We don't know what's going to happen, do we? We don't know. Salah could get injured, Haaland could get injured, anyone could get injured, peeps. And we'll see what happens. There could be a mass exodus. And if Haaland drops in price, then I will be getting rid of him regardless, because I don't take price drops. And I'm sick of my phone going off. It's not your phone, it's mine, peeps. I'm in demand. People want to talk to me. They want to know where this video is. They want to know where I am, why I didn't go to work today, and what I'm up to, So I'll talk to you all later anyway. So like and subscribe once we get to the right page. And I'll talk to you all later anyway, peeps. So I've got to go. And I'll see you next week. Okay then, so cheers for now then, peeps.